my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
On November 3rd, 1954, an iconic Japanese monster by the English name of Godzilla and the Japanese name of Gojira has made his debut. And just like that, he became a cinematic icon who's been on the big screen for almost 70 years. Even longer than Marvel, The Simpsons, and Star Wars. And to this day, he's still going strong. Yes, we have gotten some weaker experiences like the anime trilogy Son of Godzilla, and the shitty reboot that has the nerve to call itself Godzilla. But luckily, the good movies fall into the majority in this case, even if we've had some weird moments like this. Or this. But the roots are far more serious, trust me. The existence of this movie, its franchise, and its community is a result of the concept of nuclear bomb testing. You see, after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II, the Japanese surrendered to the Allied forces in 1945. Which, yes, it was a good thing that we stopped the Nazis and whatnot, but shortly after, the US had complications with the Soviet Union, formerly known as Russia. And that not only begins the Cold War, but also the nuclear age. We're talking the development of bombs that make Little Boy and Fat Man look scrawny in comparison. And one of those said bombs would end up awakening an ancient creature who would use his newfound nuclear powers to destroy a post-World War II Japan in 1954. And this creature's name is Godzilla. But originally, his name was never Godzilla. The name Godzilla is the American mistranslation of the official Japanese name Gojira, which is a combination of two Japanese words, Gorira, meaning gorilla, and Kujira, meaning whale. So we're talking a giant gorilla whale. Honestly, I don't see it. Speaking of gorillas, part of the inspiration for Gojira is actually the big monkey himself, King Kong, who would later on be one of Godzilla's biggest rivals. But yeah, as expected from his debut, this is a much more grounded Godzilla than, let's say, Titanus Gojira from the Monsterverse, just to name an example. Just like -1 Godzilla, he may not be the most powerful incarnation of the character, but what makes those two incarnations stand out is their smaller size, which in a way makes the destruction feel kinda personal. What most other Godzilla movies don't really tackle are the viewpoints of the victims of Godzilla's wrath, while the other movies, or at least most of them, do capture the original movie's elements, like the fact weapons can't do shit to Godzilla, but they don't exactly capture the impact left by Godzilla's presence alone. Like, we're talking a level of devastation and fear that would not be rivaled until -1. Yes, we do have other villainous or at the very least antagonistic Godzilla incarnations, but most of the time my reaction is just, well, that guy's dead, and I just indulge in mindless monster action. But this movie? No, it has none of that. There's this really dark scene where this mother tells her kids they're gonna be with their dad soon, and to be honest, it's pretty fucked up. I mean, imagine being so hopeless that you have no choice but to resort to telling your kids they're gonna die soon. Or how about this scene right here? Jesus. Now this right here is S-tier acting. Like, I am convinced they actually told her in real life that her mother just died. These scenes right here solidify the fact that this is nothing like the happy-go-lucky silly dinosaur movies we got in the 60s and 70s. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the tone is very clear in this movie. Not just from the dark and depressing scenes, but also the fact this movie is black and white. Now look, I know this movie is just Toho working with what little they had, but to me, it makes the movies seem darker and I'd even say more realistic, even though the monster is just a guy in the suit, and they were fighting him with toy planes and shit. And, not to mention, there's also the realistic portrayals of the humans and just how stupid they are sometimes. Like this reporter group who are recording the last moments of their lives. The one time where the cameraman doesn't survive, am I right? Wait a minute, there's a similar scene in -1! Damn, talk about paying homage to the original. Like, good job, man. But yeah, there's also the bloke who doesn't want Godzilla dead so he can study him. I mean, there's always that one guy, right? But like, how can you even capture a creature this big? I mean, shit, judging from what I've looked up, we can't even capture a blue whale, which by the way, the largest recorded specimen is measured at 109 feet. And that's still shorter than Godzilla, who measures at 164 feet in this movie. And not to mention, it's basically impossible to kill him. Electrocution failed miserably, no gun or bomb on the planet can even scratch him. All hope is lost, but there is one thing. When you have an unstoppable monster crisis, you have to be creative if you want to take it down. -1, send him underwater to let the pressure crush him, and kamikaze in the son of a bitch's mouth. Ultima, orthogonal diagonalizer. I don't know, some weird sciencey shit. Shin, freeze the bitch by making him bite into this thing and prevent further evolution. GMK, destroy his body and leave his beating heart underwater. Heisei, wait for him to go through a nuclear meltdown and let the radiation do the work. And make the audience cry like a bit. And of course, in this movie, create a device capable of destroying oxygen within its range, and turning every living thing in the area into a pile of bones. Though originally, it was never planned to be used in the first place out of Serizawa's fear that he would be forced to make another one because of war and politics, which is honestly pretty valid. But, after some struggle, Serizawa goes through with the plan by destroying his notes, Godzilla, and himself in the process, assuring that it won't fall into the wrong hands. But there is no celebration. There's no dance party or any of that shit. Yes, they stopped the monster, but I think the lesson is very clear. If we continue with the nuclear testing, there may be another Godzilla. But little did they know, 1 year later, Godzilla would eventually raid again. And after a 7-year hiatus, he will fight the very thing that inspired him. And the franchise kinda goes from there. But that's a problem for another movie, I suppose. So, let us get to the final verdict. So, Godzilla's debut was definitely a dark and depressing experience, but it was also a movie that still holds up 70 years later. But I think what I like most about this movie is the fact Godzilla wasn't the problem. I mean, yes, he did destroy an already devastated city and killed a lot of people in the process, but the way I see it, the true problem, the reason why Godzilla was even alive in the first place, was because of us, the people. Kind of like an anime I really like, Attack on Titan. I'm not gonna go into any spoiler territory, but I'm just gonna say, watch it when you get the chance, and you'll see what I mean. But yeah, this is pretty much the main reason why this movie will always be superior to the American release titled Godzilla King of the Monsters. Not to be confused with the 2019 MonsterVerse movie. But anyway, this version doesn't go into depth about the humans. It doesn't warn the audience about the consequences of nuclear bomb testing. You know why? Because... I mean, this was a post-World War II America that was at the time dealing with a Cold War against the Soviet Union, so... bombs away, I guess. But yeah, the 1954 Godzilla movie may be dated in some aspects, but it's still a hood classic that not only introduced us to our favorite radioactive monster, but also had a pretty dark tone that wouldn't be rivaled until -1 70 years later. So because of that, I rate this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Again, a bit dated for my liking in certain aspects, but it still holds up well today. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya, chump!